You've probably heard me say before, there are a lot of great speakers out there, but not all of them are visible. Not all of them get the recognition they deserve. Not all of them get the opportunities that they should. Sometimes the speakers that shout the loudest aren't necessarily the best. So how can we shift that? Well, one of the ways is the Speaker Awards. And I have on this show one of the founders of the Speaker Awards, Elliot Kay. He sees basically what's happening year after year, how the standard is evolving, and what separates the speakers that stand out from the ones who don't. Now, I'm a judge for the Speaker Awards as well, third year running, and we have a good chat about what types of things people can do to help themselves to be more visible, to do well at things like the Speaker Awards. We're talking about also what's going on in the speaking industry right now, where speakers are missing opportunities, and how you can position yourself more powerfully whether you're entering the awards or not. So if you've ever wondered what does it take to stand out as a speaker, and could I win a speaking award? Well, this one is for you. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Speaking Club again, Elliot Kay.
Hi, thanks for having me back.
You're welcome. I'm excited. We just wrapped you interviewing me
Yes.
as a Speaker Awards judge, and I thought I would return the favour. So I wanted to just check in with you. So the Speaker Awards is back. It's
Yep.
year 5.
Yeah.
What's changed since we last spoke? And I think we were just debating whether it was 2 years or a year. But what's changed in the awards or in the calibre of speakers that you're seeing enter the awards?
I think what's changed, if we look over the last 5 years, right,
Mm,
since launch, I think number one, we've gone from being a UK-based awards to a global awards.
nice.
I think we had over 27 countries enter last year. This year I've had a look, and again, I'm seeing Papua New Guinea, Nigeria. We're seeing like really far, where I would consider far, right?
Yeah.
Countries enter. We've seen Australia. We've seen again European countries. So in that respect, that's grown. Its reputation has grown. Touch wood, for all the right reasons. And when you're kind of doing something right, when the speaker bureaus want to get involved, when they want to get involved, you're doing something right. And when you're on their radar, then you've done something right. So
Mm,
that's also something that's happened. And in the last year, we've introduced, so for this year, as it being year 5, we've introduced 2 new categories.
hmm.
And we also have reopened it up so people can apply for 3 categories. So we had limited it to 2, but as we were like, it's year 3, let's go for 3 categories, and the introduction of 2 new categories, which means we also got rid of 1 category as well. So
Interesting.
we've grown. And I think, I'm not sure when we did this, if we had this, but we've introduced a Lifetime Achievement Award and a Hall of Fame Award as well.
That's brilliant. So what are those new categories? Let's people know if you said that, people are going to go, well, what are they? What are
Well,
those new
for that,
categories?
you have to go to a website. No, joking. We've introduced Best Motivational Speaker Award. So anyone that
Nice.
that kind of helps people build their belief, shift their belief, is really kind of motivational from the essence of shifting people's paradigm.
Hmm.
We've introduced that. And Best Host Award, right? Which has been bubbling around for a while. And Lavelda, being a professional MC and a professional host, she's a co-founder. She
Mm.
was like, for years, she was like, we need a host award. We need a host award. And then we're like, well, how are we going to judge it? This year we managed to clock how to judge it. And we've introduced Best Event Host Award. So those are the new 2. I'm very excited
Brilliant.
about that.
And when it's 5 years, when you step back to when you had the seed of the idea for this thing, has it surpassed what you imagined back then? Is it where you thought it would be? Has it been harder work than you thought?
Hmm.
What's been the experience over those 5 years?
Yeah, so it's interesting because when I had the idea, I was like, let's put an award ceremony, let's really kind of shine the light on the great work speakers are doing,
Mm.
and we'll put a day together that kind of follow, that goes with it, and it wasn't, it was like, okay, be nice if it works, right? So then we did the first one, November 2022, and even then we had like 95 people in the room, We gave loads of awards out. Um, but then we put it to bed for 6 months. So then
Mm,
we'd nothing happened, and I'd wake up the awards, and then for 6 months we would peddle the awards. Year three, everything changed, right? Everything changed. It suddenly couldn't be put back to bed. There was no, you know, putting in the drawer. That's it for the next. It just became a continuous, momentous movement. It became continuous, demanding. So it's a bit like it became a toddler, right? And
mm,
the toddler needed attention. It needed love. It needed support. So suddenly we've gone from there's something we could put to bed to something we cannot put to bed, and
mm,
that's a massive shift. And then it became like, okay, I think I want to do this full time now. I think really want to focus on this, and it became the center of my attention versus a
mm.
secondary. So
Yeah.
before that, I was leading with my training, my coaching, and all that stuff that I do, and then it's flipped. So now it's 80% awards and speak summit, and 20% the coaching and stuff like that.
Mm.
So that's a big
Excellent.
shift. It's a
Yeah.
beast. It's a beast, Sarah. I'm telling you, this toddler's become a beast.
Exactly. So it's a big, turning into a bit of a movement really as well in that sense. And I guess that's what leads me to my next question. So beyond the trophies and uh, you know, the glam of the event itself, what are the awards actually trying to recognize and encourage in the speaking industry?
I think what we want to help do is standardize the
Mm,
industry, right? I think, well, would we get your sort of the people entering the awards are the people that want a stamp of authority. They want a stamp of acceptance. They want to up level, right? And I think that's where the awards come in. Will we
mm,
get like Richard Branson enter the Speaker Awards? Well, he doesn't really speak anyway, but someone of that, no, because but what we do find is even very established speakers that enter the awards, they're very highly paid. It feels it gives them like that stamp of authority, that stamp of
mm,
recognition. And that's what we're starting to see, which is nice because year five, people are finally coming round, especially the skeptics in the industry, your speaker bookers, your speaker bureaus who deal with high caliber. They're like, well, do they need that? And now we're seeing them starting to enter. So it's trying to achieve that. It's trying to help level, like creating a standard. It's helped to create a recognition vehicle and an authority vehicle. And really, what I want to do is shine the light on the great work professional speakers do and give them the spotlight. So
mm,
that's the other thing we're trying to do. And what we are seeing by setting that out every year as a judge, we're seeing the level go up and up. And I think by someone winning a category, what immediately happens is other speakers go to look at that speaker. And they go,
mm.
oh, if they won, that's where I need to go to. Now, of course, there are people going, well, I'm so much better than them. Of course, you're going to get that. But those who are hungry and understand you can always learn, they'll go, right, Jazan Parfar won that. Okay, let me go look at her stuff. And okay, that's where that's the level I need to aspire to. Or any other
Mm,
speaker, Del Bates or, you
mm.
know, anyone that's been. And actually, this year, we hopefully in the next week, we'll bring back past winners from the last 5 years so everybody can go check out who won in the past. But I
Yeah,
feel that's what it's trying to achieve.
yeah, definitely. And I think if you do have that, you as in someone listening, if you do look at the stuff and go, well, I'm better than that, well, put your hat in the ring,
Right.
step onto the field and see and put your money where your mouth is, put your time where your mouth is and have a go
Yeah.
yourself.
But
Definitely.
equally, I completely accept the awards isn't for everybody, and
Yeah.
that's okay, right? And you don't have to enter, and you don't have to be a part of this, and that's okay too. Like that doesn't neither nor. I think your career will be your career. For
Yes.
some people, we found the awards have helped them, and for other people, it's helped rekindle relationships. It's helped kind of like be able to ask, or what we found for people, for example, one of the speakers I interviewed mentioned this. She said, I haven't seen a difference in the amount of bookings. What
Mm.
I've seen the difference is how easier it is to ask for my fee,
Yeah.
right? And that's a good difference to have. She finds that the awkwardness or the justification isn't there. It's like
Mm.
she goes, here's my fee. They go, okay, would you accept this? Or are there payment terms versus having to justify herself, which is what she felt
Yeah.
she had to do before. So all these little nuances, right? Is it going to like
Yeah.
launch you to Wembley and 80,000 people? Well, it'd be nice if it did. No, but it will help you on your journey there.
Definitely, definitely. Now, I wanted to ask, people have perceptions and assumptions and stuff about the awards.
Yeah.
What do speakers assume about the awards process that just isn't true?
I think the biggest assumption, and I think we don't get this as much anymore, but we did get this definitely in the first few years was paying, right? Paying an admin fee. So, this year there's £80 admin fee, which is very low for an awards, and we keep
Mm,
it as baseline as we can. But the assumption is, like the typical line is, oh, I'm buying an award. No, you're
mm,
not. You're buying an entry to the awards. The gala has its own separate ticket. So I think the biggest thing is that by paying, you're buying for an award. That's not true. You're just
mm.
paying to enter. There's an admin fee.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work goes on behind the scenes. Right. So that's what that is. That's the biggest thing we get. Um, we've worked very hard to move away from any popularity kind of like, that's why there's no voting from the public. We don't do any
Mm,
of that. It's amazing people like you that come in and judge, who industry peers, right? Who work with speakers on a regular basis. So the biggest one is around the payment. That seems to be it. Like, and normally what's really interesting is a lot of resentments or a lot of people that have these objections tend to be the old guard from certain speaking organizations or speaker trainers. They seem to really, the amount of times I get a comment and I look at who's commenting, and it's a speaker trainer that resents the fact that there's an entry fee. So that's one aspect. So it's £80
mm.
this year, all in for one category. If you went for three, it's 240 quid, right?
Yeah.
Nothing, when we purposely keep it accessible. That's really the biggest one, to be honest, Sarah. Like once people actually look and read the process, which is all transparent and stuff,
Mm,
obviously when people win or don't win, that's when some people will fill in a gap, right? They'll be
yeah.
like, oh, it's because they work with this person, or it's because they bought a table. And of course, it's like none of that. Like that is not true. Like there's two rounds of judging, as you know. It's completely like the first round is an individual thing. You don't connect with any other judges. You don't know. And at that point, no one's bought tickets anyway. So it can't be because someone's bought 10 tickets, right? That's not true. And then the second round is when you get with your fellow judges and you decide to win a highly commended. Again, have we ever told you how many tickets have been sold? Has anyone ever informed you how many like tickets a speaker's
I've
bought?
no clue about any. We're not given. All we're given is the criteria. We all have to sign a judge's code of conduct,
Yep.
and which makes sure that it's fair and transparent. And we're never given any information beyond the application,
There you go.
the video.
Right.
That's and I've never inquired about that. It's not something I care about. It's no
Right,
relevance.
exactly.
Like what? No. So that's absolutely nothing. We're just literally given the information that we need to judge the merit of the
Right.
application.
And that's it, right? So um and again the last one is the whole like if I have to buy a ticket to win, right? And we're very clear in the terms and conditions. Actually, we want you to be in the room or send someone, right? Because there's nothing worse than dead space. Oh, and please, because this award goes to Sarah Archer, and they're nowhere to be found, right?
Yeah.
But it's not. That's not your ability to win. Doesn't depend on your ability to buy a ticket for the gala, right?
Yeah.
People will win whether because at that point again, once they're shortlisted, we don't know if they're going to go. And again, we're so removed from the process that even if they bought a ticket and you've made them the winner, right? Sure, we'll invite them all to send someone. But last year we had a guy in Canada who couldn't make it. His wife was pregnant, and then he just asked someone else to accept the award for them. So that's the last thing: the fact that it depends on their buying a ticket. That is not true. It's
Yeah.
completely removed from that. We do want you to be in the room. Why wouldn't you want to be? And we do want you to be present or someone representing you. Yes,
Yeah.
that is true.
Cool. Hopefully, we've dispelled a number of myths
I hope so.
around the awards. Cool. And this is something that we spoke about when you interviewed me as a judge. I'm
Yeah.
going to throw the question back at you. Have you noticed the bar shifting year on year? Is it harder now to stand out compared to years ago?
Well, I don't really look at a lot of the applications to be completely honest, because I want to stay so removed from it, right?
Yeah.
That I don't look at them according to um till they've won, right? So
Mm.
I might look at a winning once they've won.
Yeah.
Um, but I have noticed here's where I know it's shifted. A, the speaker bureaus and the speaker bookers want to be involved. That's where the level of conversations I'm having and the people I'm having them with has also shifted, right? So in
Mm.
that respect, that's grown.
Mm.
Yes, and I look at the caliber of speaker entering, like when people say, I'm going to enter, I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, I might put my hand in. I'm like, okay, right. That's where I've seen the shift because I don't really look at applications. I
Mm.
can't tell you in terms of the delivery and what they're submitting, but in terms of who I'm seeing, in terms of who's getting involved, in terms of the
Mm.
level of conversations, that's where I can see a shift and an up level, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
Cool. And you did mention that there is a celebrity entered this year so
There
far.
is a celebrity. I can't say who they are,
Mm.
but whoever gets to judge that category will. Well, they might not even know who they are at this point, But I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure when they see the video, because actually I was flicking through. There's a reason I was looking through because I was looking through. We're looking at how many had completed in certain categories, and then so
Yeah.
it brings up, and I was like, oh, it's that person. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, that's pretty cool. So anyway, um, but again, they'll be judged according to their ability as a speaker
Absolutely.
and nothing else. And I just want to be clear on that. But yes, that's another level. The fact that people's managers are putting their speakers in is another
Yeah.
sign that it's gone up a level. And then it's got kudos, it's got merit, right? Because I know from fact, like speaking to the ambassador, she's been showing people the website, and I know they are reading it in fine detail
Mm.
because she tells us, she's like, look, this person, this managing director of this particular bureau has been reading your website. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
good to know,
Cool.
right?
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to again, I'd be interesting to see if you have any insight on this. What
Yeah.
do you think speakers believe the judges are looking for that actually doesn't matter as much as they think?
Okay, so having interviewed yourself, and I've interviewed three other judges on our podcast,
Yeah.
I can tell you that they kind of uniformed in the sense that judges want something fresh, something new.
Mm.
They want to see your ability to deliver. It's a speaking competition, right? So please
Mm.
remember that everyone watching or listening to it, it's a speaking competition. They need to see you speak, period. And then they want to see a lot has come across about the messaging, that's clear,
Mm.
that what you've put in the video is relevant to the category, right? That's
Mm.
also come across because some people just put one video across three categories, and
Yes.
and judges can see that they're like, that's lazy, right? That's
Mm.
not relevant. Like they'll just put their show reel across three categories.
Yeah.
Well, that's not going to show me your storytelling ability, right?
No.
So that's what I'm seeing a uniform on, and people like the judges are hungry to see a speaker, and I think I'm going to quote your words here: commit
Mm.
to the craft, right?
Mm.
Commit to the speaking process, and that's what they're
Yeah.
going to be looking at. And again, it's all transparent. You can see what you're being marked on, but that's what I'm seeing from interviewing the judges on our podcast.
Mm.
Is those are the elements that really matter. We talked about the fact of does it matter where it's filmed, and you don't. I don't think it does, as long as it's not like in a closet with clothes hanging behind you. As long as you're, and someone emailed this in today when we raised this on our podcast.
Mm.
You know, they ask if they could film it in their living room, and I just said as long as it's appropriate to the category and it shows off your speaking, then it shouldn't be an issue because you're judged on your speaking.
Yeah.
you know, Half the time you're not going to see the size of the theater anyway, right?
Yeah.
Or even if they are on stage, you don't know if there's two people in the audience, if it's edited properly, or there's a
Yeah.
100,000 in the audience. I mean, I think you might know if
Yeah.
it's 100,000. But yeah, so I think those are the kind of key uniforms that I'm getting from yourself and interviewing other judges that they're looking for clear messaging, really high level delivery. They're looking for clarity as a speaker. Can they get who you, and a real sense, and Dom talked about this a lot. He's from the London Speaker Bureau.
Mm.
Authenticity. He wants to know that you are
Definitely.
real
Yeah.
and you're not trying to be another speaker.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's really important. I just wanted to linger on the question of video for a second because
Yes.
we talked about this at length on your show. Um, I think it's really important to just clarify and expand on this that, one of the things that I said was that I think if you have got film of you on stage, it gives you an advantage because you've got that space to perform in a sense, and use to bring your talk to life. But that doesn't mean that you can't recreate that space if you're, if you're clever with, in your home. And so I just wanted to flag that.
Yeah.
But it has got to be, you know, professional in the
Yeah.
sense, you mentioned something that I think is important to bring up. I mean, I'm sure people don't need this, but, who knows?
Yeah, I think it's important that the video look, if you look, like we put examples on the resource page, right? And if you look at Emma Henderson, the one Booker's Choice
Mm,
last year, right? She just chopped bits of her talk. It wasn't cleverly edited, it was cleanly edited.
yeah.
It wasn't like this massive it's literally chopped, right? But what she created is a clear narrative as to, why she should be booked, why she's bookable, why she can
Yeah.
get repeat book. And that's all it needed. Yeah. And it's actually her on a podium. It's
Mm,
not her on stage, right? So again, and that worked for Booker's Choice, which is one of the toughest categories, right? I think what's important when you're submitting video is it has to reflect you as a speaker. It doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be clear, has to be clean, and the audio has to be easy to listen to. If you
mm,
kind of abide to those three principles, if it's shot on your phone but the mic's good, no judge is going to go, oh, that they shot on their phone. In fact, you don't want them to be thinking or even guessing what they've been shot on. But if
yeah.
it's pixelated and it looks like, it's from a distance. But again, when I looked at Bonita Norris's storytelling one from a couple of years ago,
Mm,
and again, some of it's from the side. It's not always her front on. And it's like,
mm,
oh, interesting choice. And for her, again, it really worked because she won Storyteller of the Year, right?
mm.
The only time it really matters is if you're entering showreel. If you're entering
Yeah, definitely.
showreel, then it has to be well edited, well shot, well delivered, right? But everywhere else, as long as it's clear, clean, and the audio is good, and your background is acceptable, then it can work.
Yeah, as we were talking about the other, no knickers,
No
no
knickers,
washing,
no
no.
washing, no,
Keep.
nothing that that could be distracting in any way.
And I think that's the
Preferably,
key thing, isn't it? This is the whole point. Is like I don't, as a judge, I don't want to be looking around and seeing things that are distracting me from you in your message. And I think that's
right?
the key thing. Cool.
Exactly.
Now, I don't know if again if you've got a view on this, but if you had to boil it down,
Hmm.
what are the 2 to 3 things that consistently show up in the award winners that you might have seen?
I think it kind of to talk about what we've talked about. I think they had a really clear style,
Mm,
right? They had a clear message. I feel that when I have looked at some winning entries, they had a clear emotional connection and hook that pulled people in, right? The
mm,
judge could sit and connect to. I mean, Ricky talked about that in great detail.
yeah.
They do the TEDx and
Mm,
storytelling often.
mm,
And they talked a lot about feeling the speaker, really getting an emotional connection with them.
mm,
And I think that's something I've noticed among all the speakers, regardless of the category, their ability to do.
mm,
And then if you take that as the core, then depending on the category, then they've actually had those other layers. So like Jim
mm.
Steele, like really demonstrated his ability to be a live speaker and how well he did as a live speaker. So then, but they had everything else there, and then that layer. If you look at thought leadership, they had all of those elements, but then they really displayed a unique perspective or unique thought leadership.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of your key three things.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. And we've talked about, and I'm going to got a question, follow-up question coming in a bit around the people that do win. But
Mm.
how should speakers be thinking about the awards strategically? Not just entering it, but using it to grow their speaking business.
A lot of people have talked about how the process alone gets them really clear and dialed in. And I think what it makes a lot of speakers do is go, who am I as a speaker? What is my speaker identity? What
Yeah.
do I stand for? What's my key message, right? Um, and we like the videos around it, we talk about, be unique, right? Don't be like, hey, I'm a wellness coach that speaks. Like, no,
Yeah.
what's your uniqueness around wellness? Or your unique approach, your unique attitude. So I think in that respect, it helps you get dialed in. I mean, recently I know someone that literally has rewritten her whole talk. And today, actually, as we're recording, she's filming specially for the Speaker Awards,
Yeah.
and she's speaking content specifically for three categories, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I think to that it gets you dialed in. Now, as you go through the process, then then it is about, does the market validate that? Right.
Mm.
And again, it's a snapshot in time, right? Because we had people like Mark Larouste, who's an incredible human being, who's year in year end, like for 3 years he got nothing, and then last year he got shortlisted, and so he keeps coming back. He's like, hey, he even was on our launch. Like, he's like, I'm not letting this go until I get it right, until I,
Yeah.
and I think so. The next thing when you get shortlisted is validation. It's like, look, there's
Yeah.
something here. And then when you win, it means your market, the people that represent the market, the judges go, yes, this is a cornerstone. This is something to look to. So
Mm.
what we've, to answer your question as well, is we've brought in PR,
Mm.
ambition PR, that then guide a lot of speakers how they can monetize it, how they can really use it for an authority stamp, beyond that. So I think if we dial it back for people entering, it helps get dialed in. As you go through
Yeah.
the process, it helps you get really, who are you? What do you stand for? What's your key message? What makes you unique? Then if you're shortlisted, the market's going, there's something interested here. And then if you win, the market goes, yes, you're in. So it can help them in, and that's when a lot of people really find that the doors open up. Alex Atherton spoke very
Yeah.
openly about, he'd been trying to get into lots of speaker bureaus and lots of stuff, and that once he won the award, the doors opened a lot easier. He finds he's one of the people that mentioned the conversations around
Yeah.
pricing has shifted. Again, we interviewed him. So there's so much it can bring, but more than anything, it's I hope it brings your ability to back yourself. Win or lose, it's a snapshot in time. Like, if you don't
Mm.
go through, okay, it's fine. It's just like a snapshot, right? So either people decide to come back bigger and better, right?
Mm.
Or you can go cool, and it's over there. But you've got clear, you've got really dialed in on who you are as a speaker, and I think for more than anything, that's worthwhile.
And have you seen, for people that have won,
Yep.
is there someone that stands out to you in terms of what they did to maximize the opportunity that having that award and recognition has given them? And I know you're talking about a PR company, but is there someone who, like, they were sort of systematic in trying to leverage this as much as possible?
Well, definitely Alex,
Mm.
Alex Atherton. He's definitely, so he won newcomer of the
Mm.
year last year. So I can see it on his social media, on his posts, on his redistribution of videos, that he's continuously referring back to winning the award when he won the award. So
Yeah.
I can see him, like, and he talks about now the level of bookings he gets are much higher.
Mm.
Doors are open a lot easier. Mark Denton, he won a couple of years. He kind of dipped in and dipped out, but he won Booker's Choice.
Yeah.
And he talked about his fees going up as a result. And he was already very well paid speaker, right? So he's
Mm.
already making a good living. He's talked about the increase. But the person I could put my hand, and kind of, I've got literally tangible, well, there's a few of them, but really one jumps out is Bonita Norris,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So she won Storyteller of the Year 2 years ago. And last year she won Showreel of the Year. But even like previous, before she'd entered the showreel, she talked about how her bookings had doubled, her fees have increased. And she's like, honestly, she and I've got, because we WhatsApp every now and then when I'm like, well, how's your life been since, right? And she literally said, Elliot, I'm telling you, things have doubled. I'm busier. My fees are up. I think she was on, this was last year, on track to do 100 gigs that year. And she
Oh.
does. She says, I mean, she attributes, obviously, she's a great speaker, right? It's
Yeah.
not, it is about that.
Yeah.
Um, but she says it, massively thanks to the awards. So,
Nice.
that really helps us. And, we don't hear of these things because unless we ask, very few people are going to be like, oh, thank you, awards. You've done this for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are winners, and I think you got to remember there's people behind that aren't winners. There's people that are highly commended as well,
Mm.
so they've
Yeah.
done well.
Yeah.
But also, the people that have shortlisted, there's ways you can leverage that. But those are kind of the ones that really jump out. I know Emma Henderson now is really booked and busy.
Mm.
How much she attributes that back to the awards, I don't know, because I haven't asked her, to be honest with you. But I do know, she took her
Yeah.
time. After she won, I think she needed to get everything in line. She's like, well, I want to leverage this award, so I need to make sure everything else matches it. But now I see her just booked all the time. Now I don't know if
Cool.
that's because of that or not, but every little bit helps, right?
Yeah, and I think what's clearly coming across is that it's helping people level up their game. Um,
Exactly.
if even like after she's won, she's like, I need to do X, Y, Z to fully maximize this. If you're applying, you're having to level up your game in terms of positioning and messaging
Right.
and your personality. So at each level, it helps you level up your game, and that's a benefit, even if nothing else happens, to entering.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess this is the thing. If there is someone sitting there thinking, I'd love to enter, but I'm not sure I am good enough as yet. Alex was best newcomer last year. What would you say to them?
So look, there's no guarantees in life, right? And you fell all the risks you don't take, right? Um, I'd say this, right? What is the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is you enter and you get nothing. Okay,
Mm,
that's the worst. But what you have gained is you got really clear, hopefully, by the process on who you are and what you want to be as a speaker. So that in
mm,
itself makes it worthwhile. Now, who knows, right? Maybe you'll be surprised and you get shortlisted, right? And then who knows, maybe you win. Now, if you listen to the interviews I did do with winners, whether I mean, you can sometimes go, okay, they're just saying that. But when all of them say they didn't enter to win, they entered
yeah.
to see how far they could go, and then they won, and then there's something there. So why you might just surprise yourself. Look, I can't guarantee anything, I can't promise anything, and I won't. But I can promise this, that if you do go through the process, you'll get a lot clearer on who you are as a speaker. From
Mm,
there on, I can't say anything. That's what I'd say. So we've been talking about like the key message is back yourself. Just back
yeah.
yourself. Go through the process. You don't want to enter three category, enter one. It's £80, right? That's two Starbucks coffee these days, right? And a brownie, right? So for the price of two coffees and a brownie, I think it's worthwhile. That's what I
Mm,
would say to them. Don't underestimate your ability. Don't underestimate who you are, because the judges will have a look at that, and either you're through to the next one or you're not. But again,
mm.
that's just a snapshot. That's just a moment in time. Don't let that define you. And I think a very quick story, if I may.
Yeah, go for it.
Obviously there's the Business Book Awards, and I a few years ago entered the Business Book Awards with my fourth book, and I didn't get anywhere. And of course, I was like angry, resentful, pissed off. I'm not part of a clique. I'm not in the right gang. They don't like you name it. All went through my mind, which is what a lot of speakers do when they don't win. So then, what did I do? I then wrote another book to enter the following year, which I did, and then I got shortlisted. Right. So then when I
Mm,
went to the gala and I didn't win, that's okay. But I did get shortlisted, so I come bigger and stronger. And then I got invited as a judge. Now, last 2 years, I haven't been able to be a judge at the Business Book Awards. Now, considering I'm dyslexic, pretty good going, right? Um, but I haven't been able to be a judge the last couple of years. However, it opened doors. My point
mm,
is, I didn't know, right?
mm,
And I got nowhere one year, and then I got shortlisted next. Sure, I could have gone through the whole writing another book with the intention of winning the Business Book Awards, and who knows, maybe the next one I will enter because I've just
mm.
finished my seventh one. Um, but the point is, you've got to be in it to win it, right? I know it's a cliche, and you risk everything you don't take. So this risk is quite minimal,
Mm.
right? And I think the best thing you can do is bet on yourself, back yourself, go through the process, and see where you land.
Yeah, I think this is the other thing. It's the other thing. It's what we don't have a lot of in the speaking industry is benchmarking.
Mm,
It is a very subjective, much like acting and everything else. It is subjective. When I sit there with the other judges in the second round,
mm,
they've seen something different to what I've seen, and we have a conversation and we work it out and we come to a decision. But this is an opportunity to benchmark. And there's that business saying, which is you know if you don't measure it, it doesn't get managed. And in
yeah,
a sense, you can be thinking that there's a reason why you're not getting as many gigs as or whatever. Like this is an opportunity for you to like get a stake in the ground, say, I am this good, or I need to do some work.
yeah,
Because these are the people that are winning. And as you said, it's not for everyone, but I do think it's an opportunity for you to benchmark yourself, especially if this is a serious career choice for you.
Right.
It's something that you should be looking to do to get better at your craft in your career.
Absolutely. I agree. Well said. I can add nothing to
Okay. Right.
that.
Now, I want to shift gears slightly.
Okay.
This was a question that you asked me. I'm going to ask you, which is what are you seeing across the industry? What do you think speakers should be focusing on in terms of topic? Like, what are you seeing across the industry generally?
I think I think that a lot of speakers should, from your world, definitely focus a lot more on storytelling,
Mm,
and really investing in emotional connection with an audience.
yeah.
Um, we have information. We got lots of information, and plus we got lots of sources of information. So,
Mm,
I think, and I'm seeing this is people are craving connection. They're
mm,
craving authenticity more than I've seen before. I know post pandemic there was that, but it's increased, and we talked about this. I think with the rise of AI and the
mm,
rise of skepticism around content and even video content, people want to feel connected. They want to get a real sense for the person, and we talked about imperfection being a currency.
mm,
And I'm seeing that more and more. You know, if I think about when I work with speakers, a bit like yourself, professional speakers, you know, a lot of our time is spent on storytelling, right?
mm.
You know, even I'm working with Maria Franzoni, the ambassador for the Speaker One Speaker Summit, and I'm not working on her information. We're working on how she tells the
Story.
story.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of speakers should up level their storytelling more than anything, because I can
Mm,
Google most of the things you're going to tell me. I can chat GBT. Like, what can you do that can't be chat GBT'd or Googled in the room, right? Storytell, emotional connection,
mm,
taking an audience on a journey. That can, you can still help shift their paradigm, and you can help shift who they are, whatever you're trying, whatever your topic is. But nothing's going to replace how you make them feel, right?
mm.
And that's really important. They're going to forget what you say anyway, but how you made them
Yeah.
feel, that's not going to shift, right? And you know, talking about it, I walk my walk. My latest keynote, Watch Me Go, which is the name of my book. I only have 5 slides. That's it. The rest,
Mm,
they're all stories. I tell 5 stories, and it's all about the Watch Me attitude, right?
yeah.
And it's all stories. And I found that's been the most impactful keynote I've ever delivered, and I've
Yeah.
delivered a few, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I think the shift should move to storytelling, emotional connection, authenticity, and really elevating the audience. That's what I would say.
Absolutely. I think all of those things are true. I think I would also add insight and opinion because I think that, like, if you want to be unique as a speaker, your stories are often unique, unless, there are some ones that people sort of share, but like most of the time they're lived experience, they're real stories that share that transformation, but also insight and opinion because, like Elliot said, information is cheap. uh, AI can get you anything, but your insight and your opinion based on your lived experience and your
Yeah.
journey are also the unique things that you can bring to the table. And that comes from having that strong foundation of being, you normally can get those things when you're an expert. So that shows, where you are. I don't know if is that something you see as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Open, yeah. So adding the opinion and insight, I
Yeah.
think, yeah, because again, why would people book you?
Yeah.
And I think the other element to add to everything we said is be absolutely clear on the problem you're solving,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. Yeah,
And I
definitely.
think that's a big part of it. Like, people forget that side of things. So the problem you solve, because that's what you're going to get booked for, really. You get paid according to the problem you solve.
Yeah.
Now, it's okay to be inspirational, motivational if you want to go into that space. I think my latest keynote is more motivational, inspirational,
Yeah.
but it still solves the problem of a mentality, of an attitude,
Yeah,
right? And
definitely.
so I think that's another part.
Absolutely true. Cool. Right. So we were talking in the interview about shifts that,
Yes.
some things seem to be shifting. And I wondered if you could share like what you're up to,
Yeah.
and what the future is looking like for you, what you're trying to create and bring into the world.
So I think, first of all, I think there's some internal shifts going on, which will be announced when they happen, in terms of the team and the growth.
Hmm.
The other aspect is us going international. So once I've got that, locked in. We'll announce that. So that's quite good. And we are um, going to be looking at launching a community platform. So,
Cool.
really, an online platform that will allow the community to have access to. And our idea is not to become just, I want to put out, I do not want to become a training company. We won't be putting
Mm,
trainings on. But what we do want to be is the people that link the people to the trainers, to the coaches. So we're going to build that out,
mm.
which allows us then, of course, to support the community beyond the marquee events. So that's kind of on our future.
Nice. Excellent. Lots. And then there's the book that will be coming out in the not too distant future.
Yeah, the book will be launched at the Speaker Summit on the 3rd of July.
Excellent.
Yeah, so
Oh,
I'm actually doing the
cool.
closing keynotes and then launching the book. So I hope people will queue up for it afterwards. But yeah, I've just
Brilliant.
finished that. It's with the editor. Once the editor's done, I will do the editor's edits. And then actually this evening, I should be having a call with the designer. So it's all happened very quickly because as I told you offline, I wrote one version and then got feedback that it's not very good. So I had to rewrite, restructure everything, which is what I did. So everything's on a very tight deadline. So hopefully this evening I'll get a look into what the cover will look like,
Yeah.
and then I will be able to really move forwards with getting it loaded and getting the because you have to get the author copy first and sign
Yeah.
that off, and yeah, so we can
Oh,
start all that.
exciting.
Yeah,
Oh, I look forward to seeing that at the summit. That sounds brilliant.
thank you,
Congratulations. So
thank you.
big, big plans, global expansion, uh,
Yes.
personal expansion, lots going on. So I think one thing that I want to say, I don't know if we've mentioned the time frame. This show, as the time that it's out there, people will probably have about 6 to 7 days to get their application in.
Yeah.
So, where's the best place for them to go if they haven't already looked at this?
So the speakawards.com, that's the best place to go. It's got access to resources on there. It's got the Q&As. It's got what the judges look at. It's got the code of conduct. It's got everything. Everything is on the speakawards.com.
Cool. All in one place.
All in one
And
place.
you got, based on what we've been saying, you've got nothing to lose to have a go, get on the field, out of the stands, and give yourself your best shot. And is there anywhere else that people should go to find out more about you, Elliot, what you're up to, or connect with you? Where's the best place for people to go?
I think the best place, thanks, great question, is to go to LinkedIn, Elliot Kay, spelled correctly, Elliot Kay. Just say, I heard you on Sarah's podcast, just to say hello. And that's probably the best place. I mean, I'm not going to say, I've got so many websites, there's no point sending them. Like, that is the place where I'm most active. I post daily. You can access me, email me, or DM me, is LinkedIn.
Cool. And there is one spoken before, so you've been on the show, you've had the standard questions. I'm
Yes.
going to ask you the last question just to
Okay.
check in um, before we wrap up. If you could have one mentor, alive or dead,
Mm-hmm.
fictional or non-fictional, who would you choose and why?
Oh, gosh, that's an interesting one. I guess because he's just on my periphery right now because I've followed the TV show well, I've been trying it. Because I've got to work with a few of the apprentices.
Mm,
And this year we have a judge who was on The Apprentice a couple of years ago, and
cool.
actually his story is quite interesting because he won an award in the very first speaker award.
Cool.
And he didn't show up. He's one of the ones that didn't show up. I went, welcome, Frederick. And he didn't show up. And then he told me later that he was so broke that he couldn't attend.
Gosh.
But now it's all changed. Obviously, full circle, he's now a judge. So and we talk about this in podcasts with him. And so I think because he's on my periphery, I think Alan Sugar would be someone that I would go to be
Interesting.
a mentor. I just feel that, you know, A, there's no nonsense. But B, I do think he really believes in who he invests in. I don't think
Yeah.
that's a line. I think it's true. And he likes to back underdogs. And also, like, Watch Me is a little bit about an underdog
Yeah.
story. So I think if we were to bump in and say, hey, do you want to move? I think I'd go with Alan Sugar right now.
Brilliant.
Mm.
Well, you never know. He may, by some route, get hold of this and he wants to expand globally. So he'd be a good investment. He's done some good stuff. So there you go.
Hopefully he
Maybe you
doesn't think
get
I'm some schmuck.
Cool.
That's after his money.
Yeah, exactly. So make him money, more like. Yeah, cool. Um, Good. So, well, thank you so much for coming back on the show and sharing more about the speaker awards and how it can help people, and and all of that good stuff. And I just want to wish you best of luck. I'm looking forward to
Thank
getting
you.
my judges training up, retraining, and then all the applications. So I think it's going to be exciting to be part of it again. So brilliant. Thank you for putting a whole thing on.
Thank you for being a part of it.
I hope you got a lot of value from that. There were some interesting things there, both about how you can give yourself the best opportunity for success if you're thinking about entering the speaking awards, perhaps what you need to do to get ready or feel ready to enter the awards next year, what you can do to stand out as a speaker, what's going on in the industry. It's a real behind the curtains look, and I hope you found that helpful. The thing is, it's not about just being talented or intentional. It's thinking about how you show up, how you position yourself, and how you can make it easy for people to say yes to you. So if you're thinking about entering the awards this year, or even if you're not, this might be a good moment to ask yourself, am I operating at the level I want to be recognised for, whether that's bookings or fees, platforms? Are you operating at that level? Or are you demonstrating visibly that you're operating at that level? Might be a better question. So if you want to find out about the Speaker Awards, I'll put the links in the show notes. Basically, the speakerawards.com is where you need to go. Go and find Elliot on LinkedIn or elsewhere. If you have anything that you want to say to him, give him feedback, comment, ask questions, he'll be available to you on that medium. And if you know there is someone who's ready to step up their speaking game, maybe you send them this episode too. Well, until next time, thanks so much for watching or listening to the show. If you haven't yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, do that. And if you've got a question or a comment, leave it below. We'd love to hear those. If you're listening on any of the other platforms, podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or podcast app, do subscribe if you like what you hear. Leave a rating or review where you're listening, or you can do it at ratethispodcast.com/TSC. I really appreciate you taking the time to do that, to leave an honest review, because it helps us, promote the show to other people that might need help with their speaking, storytelling, humour, and all that good stuff. So until next time, don't you forget to go out, grab your life by the nuts, and get cracking. Bye-bye. It's a nightmare. You're an expert with so much to say, but now that you've been booked to speak, you're struggling to know exactly what to talk about. You want a talk that engages the audience and wins you new clients without you losing your personality or anyone feeling pitched to. But what happens when you sit down to create that talk is that you end up staring at a blank page for ages, or worse, surrounded by hundreds of sticky notes with content that you could include. With so much material, you just don't know where to start or finish. Don't worry, because many experts like you face exactly the same challenge, and that's why I created the Blank Page to Stage Guide. In just 50 minutes, this breakthrough resource is going to help you identify the big idea of your message, make it relatable for the audience that you're speaking to, and convey it all in a way that gets the audience inspired and on board with your idea. And it works even if you have tons of material or your subject feels less than exciting. If you want to cut through swathes of content and get a talk that you're excited to share, your audience loves, and wins you new clients, then grab your Blank Page to Stage guide from saraharcher.co.uk/new guide-TSC. Oh, I forgot to say, it's completely free. Enjoy!